Hello and welcome back, dear students, to learn a new topic of the lesson Heredity and Evolution. Okay, so today we are going to learn about briefly regarding evolution. Okay, so let's see what does evolution means. Okay, so before we begin to learn about this term, first let's try to recall certain things. Can you recall? Okay, now can you see this picture which I have shown here? Okay, so here if you have learnt in the lower classes, you might be knowing that just below the large intestine there is a small organ called as appendix. Okay, so can you see this appendix here? Yes, so this is called as appendix. Now let's try to answer one question. What is the function of the appendix of our digestive system? Okay, now you know that appendix earlier was used by the herbivorous animals. Human beings earlier used to eat raw vegetables or maybe raw leaves. That time appendix was very useful because appendix is an organ which can digest the food materials of the leaves. Like for example, leaves consist of a carbohydrate called as cellulose, which has to be digested, and then only it will be taken up by the body. Now human beings have already left eating raw vegetables. We are cooking and eating the food. So is there any use of this appendix? No, my dear students, it is a useless organ right now for the human beings. Therefore it is a vestigial organ. Vestigial organ means a useless organ or an organ which is not used in our body at all. So even appendix is a vestigial organ, and therefore it does not have any function in our body. Okay, next question, let's try to answer. So what can you see here? So you can see a tooth, okay, which is highlighted here in the red color, right? Do you know what is it called as? Yes, you are right. It is our wisdom teeth. Okay, so it comes at the age of around 17 to 25 years. Okay, everybody has this wisdom teeth, or some of them may get one teeth in the whole lifetime. Maybe some of them get two wisdom teeth. Even some have extreme conditions, four wisdom teeth also. Some of them sometimes even do not have. So around maybe 5 or 10% of the people may not get wisdom teeth. But is there any function of this wisdom teeth, or are wisdom teeth really useful for chewing the food, especially for the human beings? No, my dear students, even wisdom teeth do not have any function even in our body. Even if you remove it from your jaw, it will not hurt you, or it will not have any disturbance while eating the food. Okay, so therefore it does not have any function. But why it is there? Okay, earlier it is a part of evolution that we have evolved from the apes. Okay, so since we have evolved from the apes, earlier apes and now even monkeys use wisdom teeth to bite the hard materials like nuts, then bark of this nuts, fruits, hard fruits, right? For that they require this wisdom teeth to chew it or to bite it into and make it into smaller pieces. So since we do not eat right now the hard nuts and all, we do not require it, and therefore again no, it is a vestigial organ for us. So we do not use it. Is the wisdom teeth is not really useful for chewing the food. So even if it is removed, there is no problem at all. Next question. So, do you know who is this? Yes, my dear children, everyone, especially the kids, like this animal. Who is this animal? Yes, it's a dinosaur, and you know that dinosaurs are extinct now, or they are not there at all. We have lost them completely. So, why did the huge animals like dinosaurs became extinct? Okay, so the reason behind it, it is said that, okay, there are certain theories which says that there was a big meteorite. A meteorite means, you might have heard about the falling star, right? A falling star is not a star, it's actually a meteor, which when falls down on the earth, it is called as a meteorite. Okay, so it is said that, or it is believed that there was a big meteorite crashed into the earth, changing the climatic conditions, because it increased the temperature. When it when it is coming down, it comes with so much of speed that with the friction it creates a lot of heat, and therefore when it fell down, it increased the temperature of the atmosphere, and therefore the climatic conditions completely drastically changed at that time. So the dinosaurs could not survive because of the extreme heat or extreme temperature. Even those were very far from the meteorite, okay, they also could not survive, because ash and gas were present all over the of the volcanoes, okay, suffocated many of the dinosaurs. And because of many dinosaurs dying, there were diseases spread, and therefore some of the dinosaurs which were left were also could also died because of certain diseases. So that is why dinosaurs became extinct. Fine, dear students, let's proceed now. The next question. So you can see a bird here, right? A beautiful bird here. Then there is an elephant with a huge tusk, right? And here there is another, it looks like a fox, but actually it's a tiger. Okay, now these animals, okay, why are many species of animals and birds getting extinct now? Okay, so if you see, this is a dodo bird, then this is elephant is called as mammoth, and this is a Tasmanian tiger. Okay, all of them are not there, my dear student. That means they have become extinct completely. Now what are the reasons of still extinction is going on? Some species of the animals and plants are so endangered that they finally become extinct one day. Now what are the reasons actually? So it's the reasons are simple. Their habitat is getting destroyed. Habitat means the place wherein they live is called as a habitat. And why this habitat is getting destroyed? It's because since the population of the world is increasing, there are ever increasing demand for the food, and to meet the demands of the food, okay, the forest land is getting converted into the farming land. So farming land gets expands, and therefore the forests are cut down for this reason. So this is a main cause of modern extinctions, along with nowadays I don't have to tell you about the pollution. There's too much of pollution there in the atmosphere, and therefore this is another reason that many of the species of plants and animals or birds are getting extinct. Even the introduction of the alien species means, due to modern technology nowadays, there are so many varieties, new varieties coming out, just because of maybe the hybridization or crossbreeding, sometimes even due to genetic modifications within the organism, and therefore there is variation. So alien species, you can call them as alien species. Why? Because they are not natural, they are not bred naturally, they are genetically made, or maybe due to hybridization, crossbreeding, these species have been introduced, and therefore what happens is that the local varieties which are there are getting slowly reduced, and finally they become extinct. Then overfishing or hunting, in case of the fish, okay, overfishing is done to because the demand for fish, so those who like the fish, they will be knowing about it, that fishing is done at on a large scale, and sometimes it is overfishing, and therefore fishes are also getting extinct, some of the fishes. Hunting, due to hunting is done, hunting and poaching is done to get the material, like for example the tusk of the elephant, the the claws of the tiger, and so on, they are all sold, because ivory and all is made from them, and people do ask for this. Therefore since these people are making a lot of money from this, due to hunting, these animals are getting extinct. Increasingly, however, even climate change is thought to be driving extinctions. Climatic conditions are going on changing frequently in the sense, every year you find that more and more global warming is taking place, and therefore there is there's no frequency of the proper frequency of the rains, or maybe the summer season and all, right? So all these climatic conditions are also driving the extinctions of so many animals. Now next thing, let's see now what is meant by evolution. Fine. So evolution is nothing but the gradual change of getting in the living organisms over a long duration. That means it's a gradual change of occurring in the living organism over a long duration. Now, what does this mean? It means that evolution is not a 1 day or 2 day business. It takes a lot of time for any species to evolve. Like for example, you can see here human evolution is shown here. So human has not evolved within few years or thousands of years. It has taken lakhs of years to evolve human beings. So before human beings, other organisms also had existed. Before human beings are the highly evolved animals, it is said. So human beings have come last. So for the human beings to form only, it could take lakhs of years. You can imagine how much time it must have taken from a single cell to the multicellular organisms like the human beings. Okay, so it is a gradual change. It does not take place very fast. It is a slow going process through which development of organisms is achieved. So since it is the slow going process only, development is development has taken place properly. If it was very fast change, then it wouldn't have been highly developed. Okay, since it's a slow going process or a gradual change, the development which is seen in all the organisms is perfect. Is that clear? So this is regarding the short definition of evolution. Now let's see. So we cannot talk only about the organism. So evolution, when we are talking about, it is even in the components ranging from all the stages and the changes occurred in various components ranging from stars and planets also in the space. That is also evolution. Okay, so not only the life on the living or life which has taken place in on the surface of the earth, but before the earth was born, or the changes within the living organisms has taken place on the earth, so there was even evolution in the stars and planets. So evolution is not only the study of living organisms on the earth, but even the evolution of all the stars and planets, or whatever other heavenly bodies are there. Is that clear? So in the space, so this is also included in the evolution. But right now we are not going to talk about anything about the evolution in the space, only about the life on the earth. Fine. Now let's go a little further and find out what is it. Okay, so formation of the new species, how it has taken place. So formation of new species due to changes in specific characters. Now every time there are changes taking place. Okay, these changes are slow, gradual. Okay, but changes are taking place after some time. So due to these changes, now specific characters have been developed. And due to these specific characters, there was formation of the new species. Okay, so it is because of the changes in the specific characters of several generations of living organism as response to natural selection is called as evolution. Now, why the word, you can see a natural selection, that means here it is said that nature selects. Okay, when any organism is evolving, it's because of the selection by the nature. So whatever changes have been brought about as a part of evolution, it's because of the natural selection. So you can see over here, I've placed a picture of the birds, how the development of the beaks have taken place, and because of the different shapes of the beaks, they are able to eat the different types of things. Like for example, this is a parrot here. You can see it can parrot, the beak of the parrot is very short and in a little thicker as compared to the other birds. You can see it can eat insects, seeds, bird eggs, etc. Whereas this type, that is apopen, can eat nectar and so on. So you can see how the development has been taken place in the beak itself. So this is one of the character of the bird which has been gradually changed and developed, and because of this there has been evolution, new species of the birds have been formed. Okay, fine. Next, so it is said that 3.5 billion years ago, life had been non-existent on the earth. That means 1 billion is 100 crores. Therefore 3.5 billion means 350 crores of years back. It is said that there was no life. Okay, so there was no life existed on the earth. Now after that, slowly, at the beginning of at the beginning, there may have been, now how it is said that the life existed. So there is something called as a Big Bang theory and all, which I'm not going to explain right now. It's because it is said that in Big Bang theory, the earth was hot molten gases, okay, ball of hot molten gases, which slowly cooled down, and when it cooled down, it at the beginning, when the earth cooled down, it is said that there may have been only simple elements, okay, only simple elements like hydrogen, maybe carbon, okay, all these simple elements, when they combine, oxygen, they were formed at that time. Okay, and because of these simple elements in the ocean, and the simple type of organic material like methane, okay, methane is the simplest organic material. Then inorganic compound like carbon dioxide was formed. It is believed that these first elements came like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, so on, and then from these elements what came? Compounds were formed. Certain organic compounds, certain inorganic compounds. Like for example, the simplest organic compound is methane was formed, carbon dioxide was formed, water was formed. All these were formed, and once the water is formed, even the life can exist. So this is a theory. Then it is also said that from these compounds, okay, complex compounds were formed, like the proteins and the nucleic acids. And the nucleic acids, last year you have learned about the DNA and the RNA. So these two acids are called as nucleic acids. So from small simple compounds, organic and inorganic compounds, it was believed that complex compounds were formed. Organic compounds, that means organic compound means which are formed from carbon. Okay, carbon are called as the organic compounds. So simple organic compounds, from simple organic compounds and inorganic compounds, complex organic compounds were formed, like that of the proteins and nucleic acids, over the long periods from those simple compounds. And then it was believed that from these simple compounds, from these complex compounds like DNA, RNA, proteins, okay, what was formed? Primitive cells must have been formed from the mixture of different types of organic and inorganic compounds, and even from the complex compounds. Like this is the first primitive cell, the photo of the first primitive cell, also called a leuca. Okay, so from these complex compound, these primitive cells must have formed, which are unicellular in nature. And then later on, what would have happened? The number of those cells may have increased. From one cell, the first cell has come into existence. Now it has an ability, because DNA is present, that means it has ability to divide, replicate or divide. And because of this, number of cells must have increased due to the surrounding chemicals. Now there are organic chemicals, inorganic chemicals, and therefore because they have got now nourishment in the form of chemicals, they might have increased in their number of cells must have formed due to reproduction. Okay, and now once this unicellular were formed, later on multicellular organisms also form. So there may have been some differences among these cells according to the principle of natural selection. So that means nature, due to environmental conditions prevailing there, okay, nature must have selected some of these cells. They might have got differentiated, differences might have been arose in them, and therefore some which could survive show the good growth, whereas some which could not show any any adaptations to the natural conditions there, or climatic conditions there, must have perished. So here in this case, which could not adjust with the surroundings. So here is an example of a snail, how you can see how nature has selected. Earlier in the beginning, few one or two populations, different types must have existed, and they might have reproduced of their own like this. Okay, they might have interbred with each other, that means crossing must have taken place, or reproduction has taken place in the two different types of species. And then due to natural selection, you could see some of them could show the good growth. Okay, overproduction was there. Overproduction, due to overproduction, later on there was variation. And variation, those who can show the variations, they can adjust and adapt to the natural conditions, they only can survive. So this is how nature selects them to survive, or or they might get perished. So this is how evolution is taking place. Okay, now at present, crores of species of plants and animals with huge diversity regarding their shape and complexity are present on the earth. So now at present means now there are crores of species. So I don't have to explain you this, because it is very simple. There are so many species, you might be knowing very few of them, but actually there are crores of species of various plants, animals, other microscopic organisms. And not only that species, but their structures, the shape is different, their complexity is different, and therefore so many have evolved at present. Okay, and not only evolved, they have highly developed, they have adapted to the natural conditions. But since evolution is a slow going process, or gradual development is, gradual changes are taking place, therefore even human beings might have certain changes in them later on. Like for example, right now if you see, we all are advanced with the technology. People, online classes are going on, that means instead of classroom teaching, online classes are going on. That means children are sitting in front of the laptop, mobile, computer. Okay, and when they are sitting, they are restless, they will be not sitting straight, their back will be bent, and therefore an evolution might take even in the human beings later on, that their back might come out little behind. Okay, so that might be an evolution after 100 years or so, right? So it's we cannot say that whatever is there will be a permanent thing. Everything changes gradually. Okay, so evolution is an ongoing process, it goes on taking place, but it's a slow process. Fine. So after 100 years, even if suppose human beings will be there later on, they will be seeing as the photographs of the earlier people. They might be saying, "Arey, these people were had a straight back and all." Right. So evolution goes on happening every time. Right. So animal diversity ranges from the unicellular amoeba paramecium to men, and even the giant whale. So diversity is not only from it starts from the unicellular amoeba, paramecium, and the highest one is your giant whale. Man has been highly evolved, but the largest animal in the world is giant whale or the blue whale. Okay, then in the case of plants diversity ranges from the unicellular chlorella to the largest plant called as the banyan tree. Okay, fine. Then the life exists on the earth everywhere from the equator to both the poles. Even that the poles are very cold or it is frozen most of the times, still there exists life. Okay, because so many organisms have adapted themselves due to natural selection. Okay, then organisms are present at all the places like air, water, land, and rocks. So even inside the rocks also organisms are present. About air and water, that there are organisms, and of course land also. But even rocks also organisms are present. So finally, I would say that humans have shown curiosity about origins of life and reason for such great diversity in the life present on the earth since ancient period. So it is once the human being has developed, its brain has developed, human beings have always shown curiosity to learn about the evolution or the origin of life, how life has evolved, life has come from where, and how it has evolved every time. So though there are different theories about origin and evolution of life have been proposed till today, the most accepted one is gradual development of living organisms. Okay, so this is one of the theory. Okay, so next time we are going to learn about Darwin's theory of natural selection. So today it is till here. I'm stopping. So what you have to do is that you have to take out the notes on evolution. Okay, you try to write questions on your own and try to write the answer for those questions. So this is the homework for you today. I hope so you have understood. So till we meet again in the next video. Thank you.